Welcome back to Really Haunted Places. Tonight's top 7 ghost stories will take you to haunted places in Delaware. Fort Delaware State Park is a 3,654-acre state park located on Pea Patch Island, in the Delaware River. The park is home to a variety of recreational activities including hiking, fishing, and boating. The park was established in 1951, and it is managed by the Delaware Division of Parks and Recreation. Fort Delaware was originally built in 1859 as a harbor defense fort. It was used during the American Civil War as a prison for Confederate soldiers, and it remained in use as a military installation until 1945. Today, the park includes a museum, an interpretive center, and several historic buildings. Visitors can take tours of the fortification walls and learn about the history of the island. Fort Delaware State Park is a popular destination for history buffs and nature lovers alike. The island is home to a number of historical buildings, and it is also said to be home to a number of ghosts. There have been reports of strange noises, shadowy figures, and eerie lights coming from the fort at night. Some say that the ghosts are the spirits of soldiers who were killed during the Civil War. Others believe that the fort is haunted by the spirits of Native Americans who were massacred by colonial settlers. Visitors have reported seeing the ghost of a Confederate soldier wandering the halls of the fort, and some say that they have heard strange noises coming from the walls. Others have reported seeing the ghost of a young girl in one of the park's bathrooms. Park employees have also reported seeing ghosts, and some say that the fort is particularly active at night. Whether or not you believe in ghosts, Fort Delaware State Park is definitely worth a visit. The ghost story about old Maggies Bridge is an interesting one, but it certainly does have some elements of an urban legend about it, given that it seems to be a Bloody Mary type of game. However, it is popular enough that local people will still warn visitors about the bridge, so it most likely qualifies for being included, even if it is a little embellished. Anyway, Maggies Bridge is located on Route 78 in Seaford and is apparently the site of a fatal accident in which a pregnant woman named Maggie perished. The legend is that if you stand on Maggies Bridge at night and shout, "Maggie, I have your baby," into the darkness, you will soon hear the sound of a sobbing Maggie scrambling in the bushes looking for her child. The Governor's Mansion in Dover is believed to be the most haunted house in Delaware. Having been built in 1790 and its first reported ghost sighting back in 1815, it certainly has a claim to be. The owners back then were Dr. and Mrs. Martin Bates. During a visit, a well-known itinerant preacher named Mr. Lorenzo Dow was attending breakfast with the Bateses when Mrs. Bates asked him if he would lead a prayer. Mr. Dow, hesitant, suggested they wait for the other person in the house. Surprised, Mrs. Bates explained nobody else was in the house with them. Dow described the man he had just passed on the staircase as an older gentleman wearing a powdered wig, knee breeches, and a ruffled shirt. Mrs. Bates was shocked, as who he had just described was her late father, Mr. Charles Hilliard III, the builder and original owner of the home. After the banker's death, his great-nephew Edward Bringhurst, Jr., took over the property. He moved his wife and 3 young children into Rockwood in 1892. The Bringhurst's eldest daughter, Bessie, took it upon herself to decorate the mansion in elaborate fashion, and most of her design decisions remain to this day. Much of Joseph Shipley's original English furniture still occupies the house as well. Stepping into Rockwood is like stepping back into the 1890s. After several generations of Shipley's family enjoyed the home, it was left to a non-profit to preserve. In 1973, Newcastle County was gifted the land and mansion. 25 years later, the county took on a massive restoration project, with the new old Rockwood opening up to the public in the early 2000s. Currently, Rockwood Mansion Park includes the mansion, conservatory, porter's lodge, gardener's cottage, barn, and carriage house. The Rockwood Manor ghosts are so creepy that they've been featured on TV several times, on the show My Ghost Story, on the season finale of Ghost Hunters, and on several local paranormal programs. The mansion is rumored to be haunted by former residents, including a man in a red smoking jacket, his trusty canine companion, a young child, presumed to be Eddie, the son of Edward Bringhurst Jr., and a woman that wanders around with a halo of chilly air as she approaches guests. Unexplained sounds are common as well in the old home. The Dickinson Mansion, also known as Poplar Hall, is located on the John Dickinson plantation in Dover, Delaware. It served as the childhood home of John Dickinson, former congressman and delegate to the U.S. Constitutional Convention of 1787. The property was built in 1739 and almost destroyed in a fire in 1804. It is now open to the public as a museum. John Dickinson himself haunts the house, and many visitors have reported hearing the sound of someone writing in the old master's study. His apparition has also been seen around the property, and his voice has been captured several times via EVP. Cape Henlopen State Park in Lewis, Delaware, also has a rather creepy tale associated with it. It is said that there is a phantom soldier still on duty behind Tower 12. Those who get too close to his post, located in a bunker underneath what appears to be a dune near the campground bicycle trail next to Spotting Tower 12, have heard growling or have been yelled at by a disembodied voice. The soldier's face has also manifested itself in photographs and video clips recorded in the area on several different occasions. The Bellevue Hall is an estate in Delaware made famous not only by its extravagance but by the people who lived there, the prominent American family, the DuPonts. As you may have guessed by the name, the family originated in France, and they are the descendants of Pierre Samuel Dupont de Nemours, 1739 to 1817. Upon arriving in America in 1800, Victor Marie Dupont and Eleuthère Irénée Dupont began their E.I. Dupont de Nemours Company, which turned out to be one of their most successful ventures. Sometime in the early 1900s, William H. Dupont, Jr., who continued the family business, bought the Bellevue estate. Being a bit run down, he fixed it up and lived there with his family. He also added tennis courts and horse stables. When the family eventually gifted the house to the state of Delaware, they turned it into a state park. The house was completely renovated to recreate its original style, and the grounds, tennis courts and horse stables were restored in order to offer visitors access to recreation and leisure. When it comes to stories of hauntings or paranormal activities at Bellevue Hall, they usually aren't thought to be on the scary side. Staff have noticed the flickering of lights, as well as chairs and other objects that have been mysteriously relocated. All of this tends to happen on the second and third floors, which have now been closed to the public. Apparently, the second and third floors can also get quite noisy, and visitors have noticed the sounds of laughter and screaming up there despite no one being up there. Generally, people seem to get the impression that whatever ghostly spirits are up there, they seem to be having a good time. Perhaps they just weren't quite ready to leave their beautiful estate. I want to thank you for watching. And until then, good night.